This is John with the latest on the NFL NFC playoff race as we head into the final week of the season. Going through the divisions and teams, starting as usual with the NFC East. The division is now back to the Cowboys to lose because, of course, the 4-12 Cardinals beat both the Cowboys and Eagles this year. I'm going to give the folks at TeamRankings.com the win for their preseason projections for this division. Thanks to them for letting me share their stuff all year. Cowboys can thank the Cardinals for evening out their destruction of the NFC East and should also thank Dan Campbell for being very persistent and going for two. They clinched the division with a win over the Commanders or an Eagles loss or both of them ending up in a tie. Note for the rest of the program, I don't particularly like including the possibility of tie games into the discussion as it really makes things confusing for something that is fairly unlikely to happen. For Week 18, I ran the calculations with them, and with some teams like the Cowboys here, it didn't muck up the scenarios too much to talk about. For others, it really did a number of trying to keep things comprehensible. So what I'll do is if it's fairly simple, I'll discuss them. If it's a mess, I'll point out that there are other messy scenarios, kind of a middle ground take, if you will. The Eagles will try to lick their talons in New York to finish this season. They can still win the division with a win and a Cowboys loss or a tie with a Cowboys loss. We lost the Bears from playoff contention in Week 17 thanks to the Rams win. The Lions clinched the division a couple of games back. The team rankings preseason projections were in the general ballpark of how things are shaping up. Lions will finish the season with the Vikings before their playoff run. Packers crushed those Vikings, and with some of the other Week 17 outcomes, they have reclaimed control over their own destiny. In fact, they could even lose against the Bears and still make it in. They've got several paths to the playoffs. The easy way is to beat the Bears. If that doesn't happen, they will need a series of losses either by the Seahawks, Panthers, Vikings, and Saints, or the Seahawks, Buccaneers, Vikings, and Falcons. The Panthers loss gives the NFC South to the Buccaneers and keeps the Buccaneers away from the Packers as far as tiebreakers are concerned. We get down to common games and even strength of victory tiebreakers for these. Barring that, then like I mentioned earlier, things could get very confusing with tie games between all the players, and it jumbles this discussion up more than it is already, so we'll just cross that bridge if we need to. Vikings, with the loss to the Packers, are now skating on thin 10,000 lake ice. They need to win against the Lions and then get losses by the Seahawks, Buccaneers, and Packers, or by Seahawks, Packers, and Saints. They would get in through the conference record tiebreaker with either of those quadfectas. The NFC South remains entertaining going into the bitter end. 3 teams still have a chance to win the division, and the possibility exists where 2 teams from it go to the playoffs, although the Falcons are now division or bust. The team rankings preseason projections in hindsight were a little off as they had the Buccaneers being the bottom feeders and were optimistic on the Panthers' chances. Buccaneers got a beatdown from the Saints to now be a 50-50 coin toss for the playoffs. They still control their own destiny. Get the Panthers. What could go wrong? They clinched the NFC South with a win, or playing the Panthers to a tie and not having the Saints win. They could still end up as a wild card team with a loss and getting a lot of help with the Seahawks, Vikings, Packers, and Saints losing, or some more convoluted scenarios involving tie games. The Saints stayed alive with the win over the Buccaneers. Now a crucial game with the Falcons that will be must win for both, but that still might not be good enough, as both need some help. The Saints will clinch the division with either a win and a Bucs loss, or a tie and a Bucs loss, or a win and a Bucs tie. If they don't get the division crown, they would get a wild card spot with a win and losses by the Seahawks and Packers, or more of those convoluted paths involving tie games. As they don't own any tiebreakers, they need to finish with a better winning percentage to get in. I take it as an affront to playoff races everywhere that Arthur Smith still has a chance to guide the Falcons into the playoffs, even after their visit up north resulted in more quarterback shuffling. The Falcons will be the NFC South champions with a win over the Saints and a Buccaneers loss. That is their only path into the playoffs. Out west, 49ers have clinched the division and the Rams have now joined them in the club of playoff teams. Seahawks still with a chance. Team rankings was just about spot on in their preseason projections here, save for a swing and a miss on the Rams. 49ers are waiting for the playoffs to start. Rams are waiting for the playoffs to start. They will wait together. Seahawks loss to the Steelers mean they once again have lost control over their own destiny. They play the Giant Killers from Arizona to try to sneak in. They will do that with a win and a Packers loss to the Bears. There also are numerous other scenarios involving those pesky tie games. I did a live stream this past Sunday of keeping all these tables updated throughout most of the day. I may do the same again this week. We'll see how the NFL Week 18 schedule looks and whether it's going to be worthwhile to do. Otherwise, that's it for now. My site is playoffcomputer.appspot.com. Comments, questions, suggestions, likes, subscribe, support, all very welcome. Enjoy your day.